Hello, it's Sunday again. My name is Hui Tsemang and I welcome you to my podcast, The Truth About Us, a channel where you will hear about the everyday things discussed in ways that give you more control over your life. Our topic for today is depression, trapped in sadness. What is depression? It is a deep sadness in your life caused by thinking too much about things that are not going well in it. How can you overcome depression? By being aware of your successes and the enormous happiness that is in those parts of your life that you are currently not focusing on. Can you think back to the time when you became so consumed by the need to solve a problem that you refused to do anything else until you found the solution you wanted? Sometimes you may have even skipped a meal or cancelled an appointment you had, simply because of the eagerness to solve what you considered to be a pressing matter. And maybe in a few hours of applying yourself, thinking, and looking at the problem from different points of view, you finally found the solution, and only then allowed yourself to go back to your normal life. The reason we ever suspend other things in our lives in order to focus on any one particular thing is because we regard that one thing, the problem we need to resolve, as holding some salvation for us, some greater happiness that we stand to realize should we manage to resolve it. And how do we get to regard anything as being more important in our lives? When we realize how the other things that make us happy are hinged on it, and we believe by resolving that problem, we would be resolving many other issues relating to it. However, sometimes a problem becomes even much bigger and more complex, requiring that we focus much longer on resolving it, which may also mean suspending our normal life for even much longer. For a long time, we may not eat that well, not sleep well, even skip baths and avoid calls and not even clean our house. By insisting on resolving a problem in one area, we may neglect the other and equally important areas of our lives, to a point of causing problems also in there, which means we would be willing to give up on everything else in life simply to resolve just one problem. But what does a resolved problem mean when there is no life after that to speak of? Every effort we make to resolve any problem must always be meant to make our lives easier, not harder. The moment we resolve problems in one area by creating more elsewhere, that's where we need to realize that our efforts are not working for us, but against us, making our lives more miserable than happy. Happiness is always the only way to measure the success of everything that we ever do for ourselves. Whenever we are stressed, that is when we are more likely to work against our happiness. Stress is a feeling we get when we need to address a problem, while we do not believe that we have the required solution for it. We then focus more on the problem area with the hope to find a solution there. Hours turn into days, into weeks, and months, and before long, a single problem has altered our lives in many ways. The major one being how less we have come to interact with our surrounding environment and the many necessary things that we have neglected doing. If not managed, stress could easily spiral into depression. Sometimes we isolate ourselves from the world while also not making much progress in finding a solution. This usually happens after spending some time thinking up a solution and yet not finding any. When the ideas we have currently are not enough to resolve a situation, and we are unable to generate more, our minds begin to run a routine thought process in which we go over and over the same options and still not making any progress because we have nothing new to work with. This is where even our physical life becomes a routine, spending more time in the same places, doing the same things and getting the same unfulfilling results. That is when we start experiencing the fear that comes with our inability to resolve our problem, and the complications that emerge from those things that we are neglecting elsewhere. We become clouded in feelings of defeat. Now, Since we would have set the finding of the solution to our problem as our self-imposed condition for going out and engaging again with our normal life, the failure to find one would then result into an even longer period of isolation and a total neglect of everything else. We lose confidence in our abilities to sustain ourselves, and we feel like we have failed in life. Very often, this is where many people begin to give up. Everyone goes through spells of stress and even depression at various times in their lives. It is the various skills that we learn from each episode of stress or depression which enables us to go through any other after that one, to a point of no longer regarding stress or depression as anything other than a necessary part of a normal life. For many people, encountering a big problem in their lives can easily become a defining moment that marks the beginning of a downward spiral into depression, and in some cases a loss of life. Are you depressed right now? Do you know someone close to you who is? Don't worry too much. The solution is at hand. By nature, you are a self-sustaining being, and the primary solution to any difficulty you could ever experience in your life is always within you. Only your willingness to find the solution is necessary. Our solutions to depression could primarily come from within us or from outside as the efforts of other people. However, any effort we make can only help us to better understand, to master, and to sustain ourselves even better. Now, since depression is caused by the self-imposed insistence on resolving a problem before we could engage with the broader issues of our lives, the first thing we need to do in overcoming it is by removing this condition and allow ourselves to go out and have a good life even when we still have an unresolved problem in some area of our lives. I repeat, we do not have to wait for a problem in one area of our lives to be resolved for us to enjoy any success happening in any other part of our lives. Each person's life has many facets to it, different parts, areas, situations, and things. Your life is not just one isolated lump, but a mixture of situations and experiences happening at various times and sometimes simultaneously. You could wait in a long, tedious queue and still enjoy a good conversation with a stranger. Every problem you have has a context in which it needs to be resolved, and only the happiness you experience from any part of your life should be used as motivation in any area where happiness is lacking. There is no problem in any context that should define your whole life, unless only the one that right now, immediately, threatens your life. Begin to see how the happiness in the rest of the areas of your life begin to offset the problems that you're currently focusing on. Since depression is about problems in our lives, the primary thing we need to understand about any problem is that we do not need to dwell on it unless if we are resolving it. The best thing we could ever do with any problem is to either resolve and eliminate it, or in some way render it unnecessary, in which case it still ceases to be a problem. In other words, the only time you need to be focusing on a problem is when you have the intention to resolve it. Otherwise, let your mind go elsewhere to where it would see other problems that have already been resolved, and to borrow from them the tools and the solutions that you need to resolve the current one. The primary tool you need to resolve your problems is the confidence in your ability to resolve them. This confidence can be gained from acknowledging successes in the various areas of your life, present and past, and appreciating the effort you made and the happiness that you made possible for yourself and for other people. Everything that you could use as evidence of your ability to make yourself happy has the ability to restore in you the belief that it is all within your power to overcome any problem. The more you see this evidence, the deeper your conviction in your ability. This is the confidence that enables you to be in any difficult situation, however unfamiliar, and still know that you will, ultimately, find harmony with it. To decide whether to continue focusing on a problem or switching immediately to other things that are going well, you need to be honest with yourself. Honesty to self is very important in helping to resolve our problems. Everyone knows their abilities better than other people do, and we each know when something is within or beyond our means to manage it. At some point, we need to make a realistic decision regarding the abilities we have or the need to seek help. There are many people who are ever willing to help us overcome whatever hindrances we have in the pursuit of our happiness. However, people tend to respect others enough to let them ask for help only when they need it. And for as long as we do not request it, the assumption is that it is because we feel sufficiently provided for to overcome our difficulties. Whether to ask for help or not, all depends on how honest we are with ourselves. To know that we have a problem that causes us to suffer. To know that we do not have the means to resolve the problem and this means could be found elsewhere, and yet to not make the necessary effort to find this solution is to begin to be responsible for our own suffering. Of course, sometimes we can be honest in admitting to ourselves that we need help, but may not have anyone we would trust enough to help with our situation. Or we may be too proud to ask for this help. Still, that does not mean the situation is helpless. That would only require that the person undergoing depression would have to work a bit harder to release themselves from it than someone who has some support. To make more effort in resolving our problems by ourselves is humanity's primary pathway to self-sustenance. As individuals, it is important to develop the ability to resolve our own problems, for the simple reason that we cannot always depend on others to be available and to rescue us from our entanglements, since everyone is busy with the issues of their own lives. When we build our own capacity to resolve our own problems, we become more self-sustaining and even happier because the solutions to our problems tend to be more immediately available to us than having to wait for them to come from elsewhere. However, unless if we believe that we have whatever it takes to resolve a problem by ourselves, we need to find others who could help us to generate more possibilities of a solution. Unfortunately, many people tend to find themselves in distress without any support structure to help them through. And in such cases, the person in distress will have to rely on their own effort to pull themselves out of a state of depression. It is possible to come out of depression by ourselves. This requires mental strength and the willingness to be more practical with our decisions. Family and friends occupy a unique position in our lives. They tend to know us better than other people and could use this understanding of us to help in our moments of dire need. In situations where we become so preoccupied with a problem that we lose a bigger picture of who we are, they may come handy in reminding us of the broader aspects of our lives and thereby enable us to put things into proper perspective, so to speak, and as well as reinvigorate our motivation by reminding us of our best moments in life, the things that inspire us, our abilities and the beautiful dreams that we have shared with them. It is in that way that the best way to deal with depression or the down moments in our lives is in fact during our up moments, when we are happy and everything is going well, by creating mutually beneficial and caring, meaningful relationships with others. In other words, when we are happy, that is when we should be generating enough possibilities to survive unhappiness in any other area of our lives. There is much to appreciate in anyone's life, regardless of how messed up we may believe we are. To begin to appreciate our lives, it helps to start with the most immediate aspects of ourselves, our bodies. Appreciate your body. It is a servant of your mind and it does only what its master commands. Appreciate the availability of your body to serve your mind in all the different ways in which your being, that is your body and mind, would find happiness in this world. The availability of your body in service of your happiness as a being is its good health. So, rest your body, wash it, feed it, involve it in various activities in which it would share in the enjoyment of the instructions of your mind. Embrace its peculiarities, because they, together with your own thoughts and the unique aspects of your environment, all combine to make you the unique person that you are. and an important life form that is appreciated in various ways by all that exists. Take good care of yourself, because even when we have problems, we still need to eat and to drink. That gives energy to our bodies. Thereafter, it becomes important that we use that energy to do what we can to make things better for ourselves. There are many things we could do, but the best things to do when we need an upliftment of our moods are those which affect various areas of ourselves, such as gardening or exercising, doing something important for someone who needs it most, and so on. All of these do not just improve our physical health, but may also improve how we regard ourselves. Whatever you choose to do, dedicate a few minutes, an hour, or a day to doing it until the progress you're making becomes your reward. To rest while you're not tired, or to eat while you're not hungry, can only make you feel bad about the things you know you should be doing but are not doing. To accumulate energy but not using it can work against you in important ways. Firstly, excess energy in the body turns into fat, which increases the volume of your body, and that may create health problems if not remedied. Secondly, when you go to bed at night while you still have unused energy in you, you use that to turn and toss around on your bed and would find it difficult to have a restful night's sleep. Of course, whenever we cannot sleep at night, thinking too much becomes what we do, even when we may not be creating solutions. The difference between being happy or unhappy lies in the ability to marshal our mental resources and begin to resolve our difficulties. The mind needs energy for it to do all its functions, and this energy comes from non-physical things such as entertaining it with inspiring thoughts, as well as from physical rest. Lack of sleep affects the state of mental awareness as well as the ability to think critically. Thinking declines because the mind is tired and our attention spans are also lessened. In a state of less awareness, we become less critical of negative thoughts that may continue to creep into our minds, and the more we entertain them, the less inspired we become. We defeat the things that would make us strong and are discouraged from pursuing anything that would require attention and effort. Essentially, when we do not sleep and rest our minds, we compromise the quality of everything that we do. In everyday life, it is important that we focus on whatever matter is at hand, whether we cross the street, eat a meal, or solve a problem. However, it is even more important to be mindful of the fact that whatever we happen to be doing is only a part of the other things in the bigger picture that we call our lives. And with that, to never allow ourselves to get too lost in the moment. Sometimes the tools and solutions we need to resolve a problem can be found outside of the area of the problem itself, in the things that the problem is related to in the broader environment. And instead of focusing on the problem, we need to move both mentally and physically to these places to find the solutions we need. As we develop the habit of ever visiting the various areas of our lives, whether to appreciate or solve problems in them, that is how we discover that our salvation can never depend on any one area of our lives, but in all others, and sometimes we may not even need to solve a problem in one area of our lives because we have enough to make up for it elsewhere. Before we focus on what is not going well in our lives, we need to firstly know what is it that is already going well. There is more to our lives than any problem we may have anywhere else. We need to remember how some of our problems of the past have already been resolved, the victories we have managed and are capable of, the prayers we have made in the past, many of which may have already been answered. We need to explore the various areas of our lives beyond the current problem and appreciate those things that are already going as well as they should. Our good health, the things we are able to do because of it, the love we have in the people around us, family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, or even the kindness of strangers. More than everything, start your appreciation journey by appreciating your own health. If you are depressed by your state of health, some discomfort or pain in one area of your body, simply bring your attention to the fact that your body is made up of many parts than that one. And much of your body is as well as it should be. Continue to use the parts of your body that are able to participate in the things you enjoy doing, and use them to remind that part that is not yet able how it should be. At the same time, trust your body's natural healing ability to continue to work on the discomfort or painful part in the best way it always knows how to bring it into alignment with the rest of your body. So, when you find yourself depressed because of something in your life that is not going well, start counting your blessings and realize how many things are still going well for you. Your thankfulness and appreciation of the things that continue to make you happy is how you will seek evidence of your current and past abilities and begin to rebuild your confidence and strength in resolving the outstanding problems in any other area of your life. In the end, there is no better source of energy in the whole universe than happiness. Find happiness as much as you can with the things that you already have. More than anything, make happiness your goal in everything that you do, and observe how each step you make takes you ever closer to what you're aspiring for. I will end here for today. Please like and subscribe and send me any comments you may have regarding anything that you hear on this podcast or that you read on the website and on my blog. For copies of my book, We Are God, The Power Is Within Us, please go to my website, 1ppp.xyz. That is ONEPPP.xyz. Or find it on Amazon.com. And with that, I thank you. Until next Sunday, goodbye.